as is the rule rather than the exception, when I get to a place where I can actually work in the garden, it's raining. It's been raining all day, and it's supposed to start raining again. But with all of these transplants, I just felt like I needed to take the time to slam as much into the ground as I could. So I want to try and get all of the brassicas in, which is the broccoli, the cauliflower, the cabbages, the Brussels sprouts. Most of the beds that those are going in were covered by the fence, so I needed to get the fence replaced. Now, this is not going to stay. I currently have an order for 50 locust fence posts that are going to be sharpened at the end. So, and those will go all around the perimeter of the whole garden, including the new section, at about 8-foot distance, that I can then run the welded wire all the way around the garden. And then I'll go around the whole thing again with 1/2-inch mesh, just to keep the voles and the rabbits out. But those aren't going to come for a couple of weeks. The stuff that's at risk is all the stuff that's in here. So I'm just putting the electric fence back up, and that should at least keep the bigger stuff out, the groundhogs and the raccoons that I was having issues with last year. I am going to speed run getting these brassicas in. We only have like an hour and a half before it starts raining again. So let's see how much of this we can get done real fast. It's supposed to start again in a little bit. So that ended a little more abruptly than I'd intended it to. While I was doing the planting, I looked over and realized that the tarp had blown off of the chicken tractor. So the Sussex chickens had minimal protection from the weather. And we've been talking for a couple of days now about reintegrating the flock. We just wanted to do it a little more controlled. Theoretically, what you're supposed to do is move them at night when they're kind of comatose asleep, and just pick them up and put them in the new coop, and in the morning everything will be hunky-dory and they'll think that that's where they've always been. But with this, that we couldn't do that, especially since we're supposed to get more rain and thunderstorms later. So I just opened the door to the coop and opened the fence so that they met, and all 5 of them just walked straight into the coop, and now they're reestablishing their hierarchy among the whole flock. It's gonna be a bumpy couple of days. James and Henry were definitely displaying their dinosaur tendencies with their neck feathers all roughed out and nerds all stuck out and just kicking the heck out of each other. But that's normal, and it should settle down in a couple of days. So, and then we'll see who's gonna be king of the roost in the new pecking order. We got all the eggs. I found a ton more mushrooms again. And you saw, I was just out there the other day and there were no mushrooms. And a day later, they've all gone by. So it's definitely a check it twice a day kind of situation. But I did save some of them this time. My mushroom mentor told me that I can use those older ones. They're not as good, but they are safe to use. But she recommended using them fresh right away as opposed to dehydrating them or cooking them and freezing them. So now I know, although these, I really want to kind of spread the love around the garden. So I just kind of crumbled them up and threw them around the garden, as I'm sure you saw. I did bring some of them in, and I'm going to saute those up for the freezer to use in a quiche next weekend. We got to eat a lot of eggs because we've got so many eggs right now. But the rain is coming back, so I'm just going to curl up here in front of the fire with a cup of tea because I'm drenched. Even though it wasn't raining, it was still very misty, and my pants got soaked from the ankles up. And I'm just wet and cold, so I'm going to curl up with my book and a cup of tea, and I'm going to make cheese souffle and blueberry muffins for dinner later because, like I said, I got to use a lot of eggs.
Slightly concerned by the fact that I think I've been hearing Henry more than I...
Good morning. The chickens say good morning. Welcome back to the farm. As you can see, it's another wonderful, bright, beautiful day. And it's supposed to be like this for the next 5 days. But some things cannot wait for the weather, and one of those things is the bees. The bees are coming today, which I am very excited about, except it's raining, and it's going to be raining. Theoretically, what you're supposed to do when you get new bees, they come in a small box called a nucleus hive, or a nuke, and you're supposed to leave it sitting next to the hive they're going to get moved into for a day or two so they can make their orientation flights, get used to the land around here, and then you move them into their hives and they're more willing to stay because they know where home is. However, these bees have not been able to eat well the last few days because it has been raining, and I'm not really able to feed them in that nucleus box, so I need to put them straight into the hives. There's lots of drawn comb full of honey in these boxes already, but I need to do a couple of things to make it just a little bit more inviting. So I've got my feeders. I'm going to get my feeders installed right now. I'm going to get everything out here set. And then I'm going to check with the guy who's delivering the bees. Because I think we're going to have a 2-hour window this afternoon where it's not going to be raining. Of course, at the time that he is delivering, there's like a 67% chance that it's going to be raining for the next 3 hours. So I'm going to check with him and see, should I install them right away? Should I wait for that 2-hour window on the off chance that it does stop raining? Either way, we're going to put them out here. They're not going to go on any orientation flights because it's raining. And it's going to be raining for the next few days, so we have to get them to the food. But for right now, all I can do is be as ready as I possibly can to get them loaded with the least interference possible. So, I mean, they're already going to be aggravated from having a 45-minute car ride, especially if they're hungry. So if we can get them in here, get them fed, get them happy, hopefully that'll get us off to a better start than what we had last year. So let's get these set up. Doing to make things a little easier for myself later is I'm getting all of my tools together. So I don't need everything because I'm not going to have to necessarily be doing a full inspection and all that. I'm just moving the frames and shaking out the bees. So not a lot of extra effort. But obviously I need my bee suit because I don't want to have another season of being stung all the time like I did last time. Yes, are you going to help me with the beekeeping? Are you going to help me with... Yeah, you've got a lot to say. I do have my hive tool in case The frames in the nuc are stuck down, and my brush to help get the bees out of the nuc box as quickly as possible. I have a bottle of sugar water spray that I can just spray on either the bees or the new frames that I put in the box, just to encourage them to use them. I may not need that too much. And obviously I've got my smoker, because I am going to need to smoke them to calm them down as I'm moving them. So I'm going to have all of this set up and sitting on the front porch so that it's ready to go as soon as the guy gets here. I'm not going to use the mower to haul the wagon up there, just because I'm afraid that's going to be too bouncy and aggravate them. So I'm just going to haul the wagon myself, and I'm going to have that setting up by the driveway, tipped so it doesn't fill with water as it rains. And so that will be ready to go as soon as he gets here. We can get them right out there and either put them on their blocks or put them in the hive, whatever the guy recommends that I do. So, and that's not the only excitement that's coming. Today is the bees. Tomorrow is the new doors and kitchen window, which I'm very excited about. And Saturday is my fence posts for the permanent garden fence. I decided if I was going to put money into fence posts, I was going to get black locust posts. Those things will last for 100 years. I don't ever have to worry about anything going wrong with them, except for me running into it with a truck. So I've got 50 of those coming to be able to do the fence all the way around the garden. And if I have any left over, I may do some around the chicken yard, but I think I did my math. Well, you know how I am with math. Theoretically, I did my math well enough that I should have just enough with the gates that I want to put in and running the fence all the way around. So it is going to be a busy weekend, and I hope you'll come along and see what chaos ensues. That was surprisingly anticlimactic. Nobody's really interested in coming out of the nuc box right now. Todd, my guy from East Worcester Bee Supply, which is where I ordered the bees from this year, said even with the weather, I should still at least open the boxes and give them a chance to do some cleansing flights, meaning they need to come out and go to the bathroom. But that they definitely need feeding. So we both agreed that I'd just put them out here, see if they want to do any exploration and whatnot. It's supposed to stop raining after lunch for a little bit, so I'll come back out here then and hive them. And then they'll have all the resources that they need to get established. Even though we've got like 5 days of rain coming. He said then even if we get a short warm spell, they can come out and do their orientation flights, do their cleansing flights, get established. So I'm going to get out of the area and give them a chance to get settled. We'll come back out here after lunch. All right, we've got a break in the weather. So it's time to go and get these bees installed. The hardest part about beekeeping is getting your smoker going. It took me about 15 minutes to get that darn thing going. All right, let's go see how these guys are doing. considering what a challenge beekeeping was last year, that couldn't have gone much better. I didn't even need to use my smoke because they were fine. I just moved them right in. I didn't worry about the spacing too much. I was more concerned about getting them in the box. But hopefully I managed to show you. I actually, for the first time in 2 years of beekeeping, saw one of my queens. And she's a big, beautiful girl. So hopefully they're going to take to that well. So now I'm not going to mess with them for the next few days. I'm going to leave them be to explore their new homes. They didn't leave many bees behind in the nuke box. Most of them stayed right on the frame, so I don't even really need to leave those nuke boxes out there, but I'm going to, just to be on the safe side. Oh, sorry, putting my gear away. So then, when it stops raining, which, like I said, is 4 or 5 days, I'll go out there and do an inspection, make sure I'm seeing eggs in there. I saw the queen, so that makes me feel better about that box. Make sure that the bees are all eating well, doing their stuff. See if they're expanding into the second box and what they're doing. So this is going to be a completely different experience than last year, because last year the bees had to draw out all their own comb, which meant they were using a lot of their energy to make wax. But this year they're not going to have to do that as much. So the bottom frames were mostly drawn comb. The second box is about half drawn comb and half bare frames, bare foundation. So that gives them some work to do, but not too much. And they've got lots of food, and I filled the feeders almost all the way full. So that was 8 cups of sugar, 8 cups of water, filled almost 8 pints of feed. So that should be plenty to get them through the rain until things start blooming again. It's too late for apples, it's too late for dandelions, but we've got other stuff that's going to be coming soon. So they should be able to find resources in the area, I hope. I didn't get stung once, so that was nice. So hopefully I have a better relationship with these bees than I did last year's bees. But so now it's just a matter of waiting and seeing.